Hi everyone, and welcome to this special edition of our YouTube channel. The reason for this special edition is simply because Vectric has announced that version 11 is now available. I'd like to walk you through some of the highlights of the new version. Let's take a look inside. Installing the software on your computer is much like it was before. Simply clicking on the icon to install, and you let the software take care of putting in the parts that's required. Once the software has been installed, you'll be asked to migrate old information from a previous version, if you have one, into the new version of the software. At that point, a window will pop open. You input the information of your machine, if you have one or several. This associates that machine with the software and the tool database and the post processor. So now you could have several machines with several different post processors, or one machine with different post processors. It's going to avoid having to scroll through that long list of post processors as we've done in the past. But the biggest first item to look at is your default settings for your tabs that used to be at the bottom of the window on the drawing side. Now they're on the left-hand side. It's a choice you can make. If you're not happy with that, you can simply go into the option window and change it from the left-hand side to the bottom. Registering your software with the company is also very important. I simply click on the register or enter your license number and do it online. It will take you to your account if you're connected to the internet, and you just allow the software to connect with your account and it will automatically register it. There we are. Now we're ready. The one other aspect that would need to be required, once you've created a toolpath and you want to save that toolpath, you need to make sure that your machine is chosen as well as the correct post processor. So I'm just going to draw a circle and generate a very simple profile toolpath. And when I go to save it, you can see that form has changed slightly. It asks for what machine and what post processor. Now don't worry, you won't have to do this each time, because once you've saved this file, the software will remember your choices. And that's about it for the setup. Let's go on to some of the other items. Number 2, they've added the spell checker, both for Aspire and VCarve. I don't want to say I'm a bad speller. I think I'm just lazy. So the spell check will definitely help quite a bit. To create the text, if you spell them wrong, they will be underlined. You right-click, choose spell check, and choose the words that are appropriately spelled the way you want them to be. Not unlike every other Microsoft Word document type spell check. Number 3, there's a resize option within the software for both VCarve and Aspire. I drew some circles. We know we can select the one circle and change the size based upon the set size option, and it will change that one circle. We also know if we select all three circles, we can change the size, but they all are reduced based upon the bounding box that would be there. So they all reduce proportionately. But the new option is to scale items individually. So now, if we say we want a 2-inch circle, all three circles wind up being the same size. A rather quick and easy way to make some adjustments in case your circles are not all the same way. Number 4, a sculpting brush within a spire. This is new and something I haven't really explored to its fullest extent. Oh, but I will. I drew an oval. I create a component from that oval, a simple dome shaped. I'm going to name it Oval Brush so I remember what I'm talking about. Click Apply, and that's the component. Now here's the process. If I right-click on it, I can choose the option of Save as Sculpting Brush. Save it to a location that you'll remember where they are. To show you how it works, I'm not going to choose the oval component. So it's going to ask me if I just want to create components within the sculpting tool. Nothing happens if I use the smudge or the smooth. But if I choose the deposit tool, you'll see that the next window, Use Component Brush, lights up, becomes active. I say yes, I want to use a component brush. I click on the brush icon to locate that brush that we've created earlier, the oval brush. Click on that and say Open. And now that becomes the brush I use for creating components. The diameter increases the size as you would expect. You can see the oval. That's the size of the brush. I can adjust the angle of the brush. And of course, the strength will determine how tall it is in the Z, and the smoothness will again make it either rougher or smoother. So let's try a little bit. There's the difference between full strength and a lot less strength. It's reflected in the Z height. But it's not just with odd shapes that you create or components. You can actually take an existing or a model you find on the internet, save it as a sculpting brush. I chose the fish, the bass. Go into my sculpting option. With the deposit tool chosen, I select my bass as my brush. and I click. And now I can place the bass however I want. Change the shape. Change the angle. I think this could be very valuable for creating scenes, not just a component itself, but definitely for scenes. Imagine if you were fishing and you were in a boat and you had sharks swimming around you. It would be a quick and easy way of producing that design. Of course, it winds up being one component, so you can adjust the shape height and the base height. Number 5, Sheets in Aspire and VCarve. There's a new tab at the bottom or on the left-hand side, wherever you choose to place it, entitled Sheets. You can also add sheets as you want. And each sheet can be a different size with a different XY position. So now you can do multiple jobs on different sheets within the same session of your software. You can change the dimensions of the sheets if you want by simply clicking on them and editing them. So they are independent of each other, but all within the one session of the software. Here's the thing to pay attention to. My default sheet has its X0, Y0 in the center. My sheet number 1 has its X0, Y0 in the bottom left-hand corner. With my default sheet chosen, I'm going to create a circle and place it right in the center. That's understood. If I want to copy it to the other sheet, my second sheet, you'll see it doesn't fall within the center of that, nor does it fall within the X0, Y0 center. That's because it takes the information where the bottom left-hand corner is of all sheets and applies that dimension for where the next vector is going to be placed. It's the relationship of the bottom left-hand corner and the placement of the vector that you've copied to that new sheet. Number 6, text spacing. We know how to create a circle. We know how to create text. We can adjust the size of the text down. I select the text, I select the circle. I'm going to use my text on a curve option. Reduce the size so it looks a little bit more appropriate. We know there's a little green square there, so you can rotate the sentence or the words around and follow that vector, that curved vector. But there's also the kerning. If you click between the space of the letters, it will reduce them, make the letters closer. If you hold the Shift key down, it will move them further apart. But here's the nice thing. If you now hold the Shift and the Alt key, it will adjust all of the words. So you click between, and they all react to your clicking, instead of having to do it one letter at a time. Comes in very handy. Number 7, component sweep. This is only in Aspire. This is something new. You choose your vector, you choose your option to create a shape, and the last icon on the bottom right. Plus, there is also an option of sweep. I'm still playing with this to see its value, but I think it could work out rather well for especially letters, to create unique and different shapes of styles of letters. That's the one. I'm going to choose the 2 zeros, the same process. A little different. If you change the shape height or the height of it within this tool, it really affects the end result. You can take what you have already as an existing piece and create new shapes underneath it to add more dimension and dynamic look to it. I chose to create a pyramid shape underneath the 1 and the zeros. I definitely think this tool, this new tool, needs much more investigation. I think it has a good future within the software. Let's try this one more time. The letter M, choose to create a component, use my sweep option, there's my profile, and hit apply. Something a little different. It sort of reminds me of neon lettering. Number 8, you can delete layers, Aspire and VCarve. It used to be that yes, you can delete one at a time, but now you can delete all the visible, all the invisible, or all the empty layers at one time. That really comes in handy. These are just small little enhancements to the software. Number 9, roughing toolpath option, both in VCarve and Aspire. In previous versions, your roughing direction would be either in the X or the Y. Now, you have not only the option to avoid machined areas, but you can also change your raster angle to anything that you'd like. So there's 2 new additions to the rough machining toolpath. Avoid machined areas, as well as the new optional raster angle of your choice. Number 10, rest machining, Aspire and VCarve. In your finish machining, you can choose 2 different bits for your finishing toolpath, but you can also set the rest machining option so that your small finish bit doesn't have to go over everything. You set the parameters and see what you like. So you can use, let's say, an 1/8 inch ball nose to go over the entire thing as a finish, but then you can have the rest machining option as a second bit of a 1/16 or smaller to be able to cut out those fine details without having that bit go over the entire model. That will save a lot of time and a lot of effort. This is with the 1 bit, and now I choose a much smaller bit, ball end. There's the 1 toolpath, and there's the second toolpath. So both toolpaths are added. So this gives you the option to maximize the quality of your end product. Toolpath color within Aspire and VCarve. In the past, if you had a 2-sided cutting and you created a pocket on one side and a pocket on the opposite side, you can always choose to have the toolpath as a specific color. Unfortunately, though, in previous versions, only the side where the toolpath was visible would you see that toolpath color. So this is the top side, and I've chosen to see the toolpath as red. I'm going to flip to the bottom side. I choose the bottom side. I have the same vector, just by convenience. I create a similar pocket toolpath, just for convenience. And I'm going to preview the toolpath, but I'm going to change the color. In this case, I'm going to choose a green color. So that's the bottom side. And if I flip it over, there's the top side. It's nice to be able to see the different colors on both sides at the same time. It helps clarify things in my mind, so I believe it's a nice addition.
Number 14. Using the Backspace key on your keyboard. As you go along and draw some vectors, inevitably there'll be a time when you've drawn in the wrong direction or the wrong side. You want to go to the left instead of the right. All you need to do is hit the Backspace key to delete that span and continue drawing. Very nice and easy to remember and to accomplish quicker drawing. So remember, if you made a mistake, just hit the Backspace key and you'll be fine.
This video will continue next week because the next session has to do with importing 3D models. They've added quite a bit to that section of the software. So it's importing and slicing in Aspire. When you import a model, real quickly, you'll see that the window has changed. It's not the same as you're used to. Well, it's familiar, but different. You also get the option of choosing a slicing plane. Again, we'll go through this next time. Stay tuned for more information about the new version 11 of the software, including the import 3D model. I hope this information was useful in helping you get started with the new version of the software, version 11. If you have any questions, send me an email. I'll try to help. mm@mezalick.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Enjoy.